guys, welcome back to my video. Today's video is a suggestion made through the polls I set up, and I realized something halfway. I could just make a hybrid of these two polls, and that is a win-win situation for both. Considering I have no creative video ideas at the moment, I found a suggestion from the comment section that could help me with this. What better way to show the strength of the SCP universe than to show the strongest SCPs, as indicated by the video I'm going to show to my reactors.
Before we begin, here are the rules though. No biohazard or virus type SCP since we're already dealing with that shiz anyways. There will be no gods, high-tier reality warpers, or higher dimensional entities that are unbound or not limited by outside means. So that means SCP-343, 239, and the vast majority of SCP-1 proposals, like with the Broken God or the Scarlet King, will not be included in this list. I will just cover the gods in a separate video instead. Has a higher classification doesn't automatically mean that, oh, they're more powerful than another SCP on the list. The rating will also depend on its activation requirements, its potential threat level, and its rate and range of destruction. So without further ado, let's jump in to see which are the strongest, most powerful SCPs within the OG series. To start off our list, why not make a splash with the first kaiju to be introduced into the SCP-verse, SCP-169, also known as the Leviathan. SCP-169 is a massive, spacefaring arthropod-like species that can serve as life pods or gods of creation within the universe. The Leviathan species can vary in shape, size, diet, and culture, but their longevity is impressive as they're able to live for millions to billions of years. They spend most of their time traveling throughout space to eventually touch down on a planet that they deem worthy to deliver their precious cargo of breathable air, vegetation, Doritos, and life-sprouting seeds. Curiously enough, Levi might be the reason as to why there is life on Earth, as it is thought to have been around since the Precambrian era. Estimated to being thousands of kilometers long, Levi is a big boy, and it makes sense since it supports a cluster of islands, which seemed anomalous to the SCP Foundation when they noticed the islands moved. SCP-169 is the origin for the multitude of stories over the centuries regarding a gigantic sea creature, and is also behind the infamous bloop sound. In the seas of the Earth, SCP-169 is extremely slow-moving and seems to be in its dying stages of life, causing tremors every few months due to its slow breathing. But what makes the Leviathan so impressive is their godly level of speed and durability that they possess in their earlier stages of life. Its species is able to move several times faster than light, as it is able to cover many points of light in mere minutes. It has even endured the heat and flames from numerous kinds of supernovas, from red giants to blue hypergiants and white dwarfs. I have 169 on here because of its incredible capabilities in its prime, but due to it mostly being peaceful and, well, dying, aren't we all, it doesn't really pose a huge threat to mankind. However, due to the hardiness of it as a species, it is potentially dangerous. I mean, think about it, you have a kaiju species that can travel faster than light and endure supernovas. I think it's fair to say that a malevolent, much stronger one could certainly have its way with the planet if it so wanted, or at least do mad damage to it. Second on the list is the Keter class SCP-076-2, an ancient olive-skinned human that reforms within its black coffin, 76-1. 76-2 is known by many names such as Abel, Abel, and the Butcher. Revealed to be the son of Adam with a warrior spirit, he became a champion within a valley of biblical proportions when he protected his people from monsters and demons, until he was eventually killed by his brother Cain due to jealousy. In turn, his death corrupted him into a bloodthirsty maniac, and in the earthly dimension, he has proven to be a hardy SOB. Abel is classified as a type black humanoid, simply put, a demigod, due to his speed, durability, strength, and impressive fighting record. Being thousands of years old, he is greatly skilled in martial arts and knows his way around blades and other weaponry, which he can create at will, seemingly unlimitedly, through reaching into his pocket dimension. One of his best blades has allowed him to cut through tanks with ease, and he's even developed a samurai-type blade that helped him deflect heavy machine gun rounds and is capable of performing thousands of rotations per minute. So I think it's fair to say that his combat speed and reaction time is at least supersonic. Like Chuck Norris, he can casually pry apart metal slabs that weigh several tons and can run about as fast as a cheetah, which can reach over 55 miles per hour. Still not as fast as Keemstar though. At one point, the SCP Foundation was like, you know what, this guy's actually really good at killing stuff, we should use him. So they made him the leader of the mobile task force called Pandora's Box. But this was eventually nullified because Abel is really like crazy. He's broken out of containment numerous times and is seen as such a huge threat that a nuclear warhead had to be detonated to take him out. Abel has feats proving him to be comparable if not stronger than other humanoid SCPs such as 96 and 106 due to his numerous battles with other SCPs such as 6A2. 6A2 is the crocodile-like doomsday of the SCP-verse that can adapt to virtually anything and cannot really die. Gary Stu.
Abel sees it as his biggest rival due to him also being an agent of destruction. In 1883, within one iteration, Abel fought 682 for over an hour, both causing heavy injury to each other, and even without an arm and missing half a leg, Abel couldn't give less of a shit, and he even made weapons out of his own organs in attempts to slay the dragon. Prior to their battle, 682 had managed to wipe out numerous towns and villages, and was stated as being so durable that the Royal Navy could do little to stop it. At the time, the United Kingdom's navy was the largest and strongest in the world, so Abel fared far better than an entire legion of battleships could have. 76-2 has even managed to slice 682 in half, something that is extremely hard to do due to 682's regeneration. But his thousands of years of combat experience, rage, and ability to study and replicate fighting styles should grant him superiority over many other SCP humanoids. But an SCP that I believe to be more dangerous than these two is unironically a safely designated lighter. Yes, a lighter. SCP-403 is a seemingly ordinary lighter with a catch. It exponentially increases its explosive reaction if it's lit several times in a short period of time. Even though it has no fuel source, it has released superheated gas, plasma, and even star matter. A fourth consecutive ignition was so powerful that it was comparable to a 10-megaton bomb explosion. And to get even stranger still, the massive power released from the lighter fails to harm itself or the user due to a magnetic field that it emanates. So it should theoretically be able to endure even more powerful explosions. It has been determined that a fifth consecutive ignition has the potential not only to devastate large parts of a continent, but it could also result in an event comparable to Data X-Spawn. If its magnetic field can withstand any level of destruction it can create, it is possible that with further ignitions, SCP-403 could destroy planets and maybe even stars. Next on the list is the OG, the one who started it all, SCP-173, the neck snapping statue. There was no doubt that I'd include the Peanut Boy in Series 1. SCP-173 is a sentient concrete and rebar-based statue that can typically be contained and kept inert as long as eye contact is made with it at all times. And its cell must continuously be cleaned due to the reddish-brown substance it releases. Yes, it is contained, but just because it is contained and made of concrete doesn't mean that it is not powerful. It is unknown as to who or what made SCP-173, but it has ties with the artistic group of interest called Are We Cool Yet? It's been known by many names, like the Wandering Boy, a High Golem, the Sightless Demon, and in its true form, the Koi Turn. It has even been implied to have been born as a result of Abel's fight with Cain, long ago. For some reason, 173 wants humans to see it, and it seeks them out because it feels appreciated to be looked at, but insulted if one looks away. Its ludicrous speed that allows it to be faster than a blink is very strange because it doesn't seem to truly move, but glide or teleport. 173 has also been said to have Hume differentials. Now, what the hell is a Hume? What does that mean? In the SCP verse, Humes are basically units of measurement used to determine the strength and range of reality in a general area, in an object or entity that showcases reality warping, or that has a different quote-unquote reality level in its surrounding universe. Going by this, I think it is likely to say that 173 exhibits some type of reality warping or teleportation with its movement. The statue moves at an average rate of 20 meters per second, but it's been capable of moving and killing someone far faster than that. It was able to snap the neck of someone 10 centimeters away from him in 100,000th of a second, which would grant him the crazy high hypersonic speeds of 10,000 meters per second. And this speed is even greater when it is unbound by eye contact, so it is very clear one of the fastest beings that the Foundation has in containment. If you remember SCP-96, he is basically this really disproportionate humanoid who goes apeshit whenever someone looks at him. The Shy Guy has withstood acid, fire, radiation, thousands of helicopter gunner rounds, bunch of hit markers, tank-busting rockets, and even acid from SCP-682 without structural damage to its skeleton. Yet, SCP-173 was the only one who managed to split its spine, and in turn, this helped the Foundation kill SCP-96 in one iteration. SCP-106, the old man who can phase through solid objects, corrode what it touches, and take its prey to its own pocket dimension, also faced off against 173 with little results. 106's phasing and corrosion was resisted and somewhat countered by the concrete, and of course, his neck and bones were snapped whenever he looked away. Even after battling for months on end, 173 wasn't tired at all. When he fought 682, the statue made it so scared that it had to grow armored sets of eyes to keep it from attacking him despite their size difference. 173 is likely one of the very few beings that 682 fears because in its true form, beyond the mortal concepts of time and space, 173 basically killed 1/3 of 682's comrades. SCP-173 has also been able to multiply and make smaller versions of itself. In one iteration, when it rapidly multiplied, each clone being as strong as the original, 173 brought upon an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario as it destroyed numerous sites, killed millions of people, and at one point, 150 of them basically did the impossible, ganged up on 682, and managed to tear it apart and possibly kill it. I'll admit, 173 is not seen as extremely dangerous going by its usual portrayal and limitations, but its composite abilities and feats help it redefine terror. Think about it, if just one unbound SCP-173 was able to kill off everything on Earth, just imagine what would happen when it multiplies on top of that. Oh yeah, not to mention that it can also hack into technology and make it useless, so yeah, there's that too. Next, we got SCP-94, a Keter-class 1.6 meter black immovable sphere located in Argentina that is held, it's really not, in a cube. Due to its black hole type properties, it can basically extinguish whatever goes into it, including light. The catch though is that it does not pull in things towards it like an actual black hole would do, otherwise it would have more than likely sucked up the Earth a long time ago. The sketchy thing about it is that it gets bigger over time, its usual rate being a few millimeters per month, which doesn't sound like much, but it does double in diameter and height every 31 years. Within the end of the 27th century, it is projected to become as large as the Earth itself and consume it entirely. SCP-094 was hard for me to place because even though it won't pose a threat for centuries and is quote-unquote contained for now, its potential for destruction is immense despite its slow expansion. Since the Earth will be consumed, it means that the Foundation has no way to prevent its spread and will be forced to evacuate to other planets. It would likely take centuries for it to reach Mars and other planets, but given enough time, it would probably be able to eat the entire solar system. SCP-225 is by far one of the strangest SCPs within Series 1. Although it is classified as an Euclid, its bizarre behavior and threat to the Earth can instantly grant it Keter status. SCP-225 is composed of two immovable, indestructible metallic spheres theorized to not come from the Earth. 225-1 follows the path of the Earth's rotation, but for some reason it is unaffected by magnetism, gravity, inertia, and other tested forces. SCP-225-2, however, seems to rotate independently from both the Sun and the Earth. Seems pretty harmless, right? Well, yes, but not quite. The spheres by themselves are really no trouble, but what makes these really dangerous is that if they were to collide, it could cause nasty levels of destruction. Since both of these spheres are virtually indestructible, they could very easily release gigatons of energy at the very least, which could basically destroy entire countries. But to get even worse, the scenario of the Earth being cracked right down the middle or outright destroyed are also possible. To get even more spicy, the spheres likely represent a pair of connected yet slightly diverged universes that once they collide, will try to occupy the same space at the same time, which could basically mean that both of these universes will collide and wipe each other out. Unfortunately, its true power is vague, but it is certainly something that has the potential to wipe out more than just the Earth. Next we have an extra-dimensional SCP being SCP-435, a Keter-type SCP made up of two components. The first one is an iron meteorite that has to be illuminated with several lamps at all times. Said lamps and their generators must be constantly maintained to keep an extremely dangerous being at bay, that being 435-2. 435-2 is a higher dimensional, transparent, squid-like being with no mass or inertia and retracts light. Due to its nature, it is impossible for anything in the earthly dimension to affect it. Any physical object that comes into contact with it will have its properties reflected or inverted towards itself. Although typically inert, 435-2 becomes a Keter-class threat when 435-1, the meteorite, is not kept illuminated properly. When 435-2 fails to be lit, it'll move at a high crazy velocity and quickly increase surrounding radiation levels by moving through large volumes of air, bodies of water, and land masses, which is gonna be extremely detrimental to the planet. In the 1950s, prior to the SCP Foundation acquiring the object, it was being kept watch by villagers who kept it lit with torches constantly. Unfortunately, once many of these torches ceased to illuminate, 435-2 was released and caused so much destruction that a cover story of a nuclear test had to be made to explain the aftermath. Due to how it reacts with lower dimensional objects, it casually destroyed large parts of the Earth, if not all of it entirely. You see, 435-2 is actually the avatar or the lower dimensional form of an SCP deity called He Who Made Dark, the brother of He Who Made Light. These two beings are responsible for all of the light and dark in the SCP multiverse and have a much deeper importance when we talk about the SCP gods in the future. As they were working on building a cosmos together, the Light Brother decided to just roast the shit out of his brother for some reason, I don't know. This pissed him off and obviously they fought each other. The altercation ended when the Light Brother managed to trap him into a rock or coffin-like structure, and in order for He Who Made Dark to be kept at bay, the Light Brother put the rock around the sun to keep it lit so that he could not find his way out. Unfortunately, this rock or meteor eventually crashed into the Earth sometime after and has been kept guard by humans ever since. Luckily, SCP-435-2's expansion can be stopped if, 435-1 receives adequate illumination. But if it's active for more than 90 seconds, it becomes virtually impossible to stop. Going by how 435-2 works, not only would it be capable of destroying the Earth, but if it expands wildly, it is certainly capable of destroying the universe over time. It is the infinitesimally small shadow of a being beyond the Scarlet King, after all. By far, one of the most powerful and famous SCPs in Series 1 is none other than he who had to do it to them, aka SCP-1, Dr. Clef's proposal. Designated as a Keter in Olympia class, SCP-1 is a giant archangel composed of otherworldly levels of energy that seems to be guarding a massive gate between the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, in an area around ancient Mesopotamia that is likely tied to a massively important garden. He is most commonly referred to as Uriel, or the projection or avatar of Uriel, one of SCP-343's finest angel warriors. It has a multitude of wings and wields a massive blade with a temperature rivaling that of the sun, which can erase beings from existence. Even though his blade is at least millions of degrees Fahrenheit, it doesn't affect its surroundings for some reason. But if SCP-1 really wanted to, it could easily glass the Earth's surface or destroy it entirely. It can also manipulate minds and wipe memories with its go-to command, forget. However, it is heavily tied not only to the creation of the SCP Foundation but to the founder himself, as Uriel commanded him with a simple word: prepare. SCP-1 is virtually indestructible to us weakling humans, as the SCP Foundation quickly learned that they cannot move, damage, or control the Guardian. It can attack multi, seemingly omnidirectionally, as it destroyed 100 drones coming from different angles at the same time. I'd say the main reason as to why SCP-1 is one of the most powerful in Series 1 isn't just because of its nature and magnificent glowing weapon, but because any abnormal behavior it shows will get the SCP Foundation freaking out that the day of reckoning had finally come. You might not be surprised at all, but next on the list is SCP-682, the unrelenting, undying, ever-adapting God of Destruction, who ironically enough is the very heart of each universe and has been around as long as creation itself. 682's designation is the hard-to-kill reptile for a reason, even though it's not a reptile and it is not alive or even a corporeal being as we know it. It can adapt to virtually anything the Foundation or other SCPs have thrown at it, and it can even absorb abilities, capable of using them to a greater extent than the source that it came from. It is not invincible, at least not normally. It can and has been knocked out and heavily damaged by common weaponry, but killing it is a whole different story. You could argue that it has a degree of a no-limits fallacy, but it seems to be able to adapt in comparison to the power used against it. However, it is not able to keep all of its adaptations forever and can lose them over time, but his body never stops changing and it has retained some immunities or at least higher levels of resistance, as I'll prove later on. It's been called by many names: Atanti Kyulpinyu, the Tarask, the Primal Destruction of Existence, Satan, there goes my monetization, the Serpent, a Dragon, Summer's Exile, and much more. Its exact origin has several interpretations. One is that he is a serpent from a garden with two of the most important structures in the SCP multiverse, the Tree of Knowledge and the Tree of Life. Formerly the protector of said trees, he decided to give humans the gift of knowledge, which made SCP-343 pretty mad, and in return, he decided to cut off his wings and cast 682 down into the earthly dimension, inside a body that is nigh impossible to kill. The reason he cannot die is, ironically enough, to suffer from the knowledge that he gave to mankind. My personal favorite interpretation is that he is a child of the fourth bride of the Scarlet King, for the story says that her offspring had an impenetrable hide, could heal their injuries, and feared no man, weapon, or spell. As much as I like the original entry, it makes no sense. It is somehow contained by hydrochloric acid, which wears down its regeneration, yet its very power would have allowed it to adapt and make the acid useless a long time ago. In my headcanon, there's two ways to explain this, is that either hydrochloric acid is anomalous and 682 cannot adapt to it, or the more sensible option, the author didn't expect 682 to become so damn overpowered. 682 can and has broken out of containment numerous times. However, due to him seeking out conversation or information from other SCPs, such as SCP-053, whom he serves as her noble steed as it is the Horseman of Death, this has seemingly lowered his rampage and bloodlust over the years, but no matter what, the thing wants to get rid of all life. 682 has been knocked out and damaged numerous times, but due to its connection to the universe, its incredible adaptation and power copying, I think it deserves second place at least. Yeah, SCP-1 is baseline more powerful and more durable, but SCP-682 still trash-talked SCP-1 until he was blasted away numerous times, despite the fact that SCP-1's sword can erase beings from existence. The strongest SCP in Series 1 is SCP-319. SCP-319 is a starborn, clock-like device made in the late 1800s with two components. 319-1 designates 12 mineral compartments that can power the mechanism depending on their position and are enclosed in copper, brass, glass, and ass. Okay, no ass, but still. 319-2 is a small pocket dimension or like a mini vacuum with a lower energy value than our universe, which doesn't really mean much right now, but it will. Virtually any matter or energy that enters it from the outside gets annihilated due to the vastly different properties and physics at hand. SCP-319 stabilizes the vacuum, but due to outside movements and vibrations that are out of the SCP Foundation's control, even the smallest movements have caused it to expand. Any deviations in the position of any instance of SCP-319-1 by greater than 0.01% on any axis or any change in size or position of SCP-319-2 by greater than 0.001% is deemed a potential ZK0 event. By the way, a ZK class scenario doesn't mean that only humanity, the Earth, the solar system, or our galaxy is straight up screwed. It actually means that everything in the universe is either destroyed, fundamentally changed, or broken. It's gone so big that in an undetermined number of years, it will escape its containment and bring our living universe down to its energy level while expanding at the speed of light. Meaning that it would engulf us and kill everything on Earth pretty much instantly, and it would reach the outer ends of the solar system all the way to the Oort cloud in less than 2 years. Chemistry and life as we know it would cease to exist and function. The space-time would still remain, but all of the matter within it would be destroyed. With SCP-319's expansion, very few things would live to tell the tale, amongst those being 6A2, 343, and 239. Granted, it would take billions of years for it to kill off everything in the universe, but here's why I think it's number 1. Not only does it have a high degree or range of destruction like with SCP-435-2, but like with SCP-94, its activation cannot be stopped or prevented by the Foundation. The rate of destruction is certainly quick, only overwhelmed by the vast size of the universe itself. So going off of that, I'd say it is the strongest in those regards. It's pretty evident too, as it is the only lethal, universal range ZK class SCP in Series 1. Anyways, that pretty much concludes the tour for the most dangerous SCPs within Series 1.